It's back. We have our Dress Your Face Live class today that I've been really looking forward to. I don't know if you guys remember, well, obviously you probably do because you guys asked for this class. I had posted a picture of one of my bridal hairstyles that I had done. I'm going to pull it up right now so you guys can see which one it is. It's this bridal hairstyle with the textured fronts and a nice low bun in the back. And I put it up all over Snapchat while I was doing it. I was kind of showing like a little bit behind the scenes while I was doing it. And everyone on Snap was like, oh my gosh, this has to be your next DYFL class. We want to know how to do it. And I thought, how appropriate, because you don't even have to be a professional hairstylist to learn this particular hairstyle. It's actually quite easy to do. All you need is a few tools, which I'll explain in a minute. But the cool thing is you don't even need real experience to do this hair because it's actually really easy once you get the hang of it. It's really easy. It doesn't require a whole lot of preciseness or anything like that. It's a messy textured updo, meaning the messier it is, the better it looks. And it looks so romantic because it's loose and soft and the bun is kind of low. And I'll show you exactly how I do it. In fact, I do that hairstyle on myself when I'm going to a very special event, like a pageant or like a wedding or something like that. And if I want an updo, that's the easiest updo that I can do on myself without having to stress about time and things like that, because it's not a very time-consuming updo. For those of you who are hairstylists, I'm sure you'll have no problem doing this and learning this. And I would love for you guys to try this on your clients and your brides and tag me by hashtagging Dress Your Face Live so I can see your recreations and show you some love, as I always do. Everyone out there, if you guys are watching, the hashtag Dress Your Face Live is the hashtag that I use to keep track of your progress and to know that you guys are learning well from me. And if there's anything that I see that you guys aren't learning very well, I can repeat it in a class and know that we need to go over this more or whatever. And then that way I can see your progress, show you some love, comment and like your pictures, and give you guys the support that you need and the push that you need to go higher in your careers too. So I'm all about that. Support is everything to me and I want to give it back to you. So definitely hashtag Dress Your Face Live on your recreations, when you're using my techniques that you've learned from this class, or even if you want to just post collages of the class itself to show your clients that you are being Dress Your Face trained online so that they see the proof that you are learning from someone who's well known and everything, and it's a plus for you guys. So definitely show off that you're learning from us and take your pictures, put it up on your pages or whatever, and I will definitely show you some love as well. So recreations, pictures of the class, all that stuff, hashtag Dress Your Face Live, and you can also tag me in the pictures, and I can see it that way too. So there's lots of ways to get my attention. I'm happy to give it. So back to this class, it is a textured updo that can be used for bridal or for non-bridal, or you could do it on yourself. It's that easy. I'm going to show you the easiest ways to get from point A to point B on this class. I'm not trying to make anything too complicated for you guys. I really want you guys to understand that the looks can look very complicated, but it doesn't have to be complicated to get to those results. So I'll show you the easiest way. The first tool that we're going to use is my Bombay hair curling iron set. This is a set that includes everything that you need to do any hairstyle you ever want to do, all in one set for under $200. This is the USD price. I'm not sure about the conversions. But basically it's this curling wand and it has 3 different sizes. This is the smallest of the 3 sizes. And then there's a medium size, and then there's a larger size. And this is the 3/4 inch. We have a 1 inch, and we have a 1 1/4 inch. And those are the 3 sizes that I recommend. Those are the 3 that I always use. The other ones that are like bigger or smaller than that, or like the bumpy ones, they're awesome, but they're not that necessary. Like you could get the same looks with these. And it also comes with a straightener, so you could smooth the roots if they're too curly or anything like that. It comes with an amazing straightener. It's all titanium, not titanium, I'm sorry. It's all, no, it is. It has the titanium. We also have ceramic options available, so let me know if you'd rather have a ceramic or a titanium. This is tourmaline. Tourmaline is my favorite because it's not, you know that how, I don't know if it's ceramic or any of the titanium ones, are very shiny, right? So the hair tends to slip on it. The tourmaline has a little bit better grip on it. So the hair grabs onto it very well and still slips out when you want it to slip out. So it's actually quite easy to use and very user friendly, and it has a good grip to it. So that's why I've chosen the tourmaline for the actual coating and metal of the products that I'm producing with Bombay Hair. So if you need it, go to bombayhair.com, go under the Tamana Complete Styling Set, and everything you need is there, including the clips, the gloves, the mat, everything, all there, plus the 1-year warranty. So it's a huge break for an amazing set. So we're going to use a set on her today. We're also going to be using my favorite teasing brush right now. This is my favorite teasing comb at the moment. This is the Layla Milani teasing comb. So it's really awesome because it teases so well and it fluffs it up. So we'll use this sparingly actually in this class. I'll tell you why we don't need to use it too much, but we'll use this. If you need to smooth out the hair, this is the Miracle Brush from Layla Milani as well. It's awesome with brushing out tangles without pulling the hair, without damaging the hair. So I love this. And then I also have my boar hair bristle brush here, which is what I'm going to use to smooth out some little areas if I need to. It's not 100% needed in this particular tutorial, but just in case you want to smooth anything out. And of course, my Tamana clips. These are the gator clips. It's so nice, and it has a great grip to it. And this is what I'm going to use to section her hair and to keep her hair away from the face when I'm trying to do some things. And these actually are included for free in the styling set. And lastly, of course, we have the Sally's bobby pins. These are in a box of £1, and they're very, very easy to find at Sally's Beauty Supply. And I think it's like $7.99 or something like that, or up to $10, I guess. I'm not sure lately, but that's around the price for a whole pound of bobby pins. So I definitely recommend these over the other bobby pins because these have a nice grip to them. You don't want to get loose bobby pins or flimsy ones where you have to pin 2-3 times on one piece of hair and then it falls. So make sure you're having something like that. And actually I lied, that wasn't last. There's one more thing that we're going to use today, which is amazing piece of jewelry from Da Vinci Design. I will tag them once we upload the pictures from this class later on. I've been working with them to dress my brides for quite a while now. They have been doing custom pieces for my brides, and they've also been, they also have the stock pieces that they've created themselves, and brides can purchase them. And this is really awesome because you can use this as a headpiece, which is really beautiful. Of course, the hair in the back will cover it, and we're going to use this as a headpiece for our beautiful model today. And it can also be used as a really cute sash for the wedding gowns and things like that. So it's multifunctional. I love this piece, and so we're gonna go ahead and use this today. And in case you guys wanna purchase anything from Da Vinci, I'll go ahead and tag them later on, but I think it's DVNCHI. That's how it's spelled on Instagram. And if you mention me, all you have to do is call them to order or email them to order. And if you mention my name, they will give you my special client rate so that you guys can get hooked up too. So anyway, we're going to use this at the end. So without further ado, I would love to introduce my model, and we can get started so you guys can see all the step-by-steps without taking too much time, because I want you guys to see how fast this awesome style is. I would like to welcome my beautiful model. Come on to the stage, my dear. Hello. Go ahead and spell your Instagram name so that they can stalk you.
Can stalk me?
Yeah.
I spell it because it's so complicated. It's Franciele_Medeiros, FRANCELE_Medeiros, MEDEIROS.
Oh Lord. But what a beautiful exotic name. I love it. So she has agreed to be our model today. I love it because she has not super long hair, not super short hair, but this style can be worn with anyone with about this length hair and below. So it's pretty cool. And she has a pretty good amount of hair. She doesn't really need extensions for this style, but as you can see, it's not super thick at the end. It's a good amount, but it's not super thick. So I want you guys to see that you don't actually really need extensions for this style. You could totally do it without extensions. I have actually curled her hair yesterday a little bit. That's why it's so pretty, but we're gonna go ahead and re-curl it now, and I'll show you all that stuff. So actually, let me go ahead. I'm gonna move your seat forward, and you just sit back and relax. Yes. Okay. So what I'll do is I'm going to start curling all her hair with this lovely beauty right here. It's the 3/4 of an inch wand because I really want to create a lot of texture throughout. Now, if you guys have any questions for me, we're going to be doing the Q&A during the class today instead of just right after. We're going to be answering questions throughout this class. So on this latest post, this is when I had done this style on myself. On that latest post, go ahead and go underneath and you'll comment any questions that you have for me so that we can both read them out and answer some of these questions while I'm working on her so we can help you out there. So any questions you have, whether it's we'll try to focus on hair questions, but if you have any makeup questions, that's fine too. I'll go ahead and help you guys too. And we'll get started. So first things first, I want to go ahead and just brush out her hair, make sure that everything is detangled. So I'm just gonna brush out her hair. This is the Layla Milani Miracle Brush. And I'm just gonna make sure everything is nice and smooth. Okay. So now that I've detangled everything, I'm gonna go right ahead and start curling all her hair. So I'm gonna start taking sections from the nape and work my way up. And I tend to use my nails to section. I have these amazing claws here. And so I use that to section, but if you need help sectioning, definitely just use a rat tail comb. Use that comb to go ahead and section. Then what I want you to do is roll the hair and twist it up so that you can gator clip it with my gator clips. And that way you don't need a whole bunch of those butterfly clips all over the head. One gator clip does it for you. And we're gonna go ahead and start curling. So I'm going to take about a square inch section. We're going to put the wand underneath and we're going to start wrapping. And we're going to hold it for just a few seconds before we let it go. And I want it to be a nice, very, very springy curl. We're not going to open these up. These curls need to stay looking like this, like noodles. So that's how we want them to look. Do not open them. Do not mess with them too much. Try to curl from the root, as close to the root as possible without burning. And we're just gonna keep curling all the way up. Let it go. See how springy and bouncy these curls are. We're just gonna set them aside and finish that whole section the same exact way. Just make sure you're getting as close to the root as possible. If you're very close and you see a lot of steam, it's okay to just blow on the root of the hair just to keep your client comfortable. I don't find that weird at all. And you're just gonna curl the same exact way. If you want to alternate directions, you absolutely can. In this messy style, it doesn't matter if they're all the same size or the same direction. It can be as messy as you want. I just like to have a nice tight curl because I want to be able to see those curls after I have messed with the hair a little bit. So if the curls are too loose, if you're using a larger wand than this is a 3/4 inch, but let's say if you use a 1-inch wand, it's not gonna show as texturized as this because it's gonna open much faster. So the smaller the curl, the tighter the curl, the smaller the wand, the tighter the curl, and the more texturized the hair will look. So I'm gonna finish this nape and move on to the next section as well. So remember just to keep all the curls nice and tightly wound, hold it down for a few seconds, and then just softly let it go. You can let it cool down in your hand a little bit if it's too hot and then let it go. But these are small sections, so usually you don't even have to worry about letting them cool down all the way because since it's a thin section of hair, most likely the heat will escape pretty quickly. And it will lock down the curl nicely. So now that I'm done with this bottom nape section, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a nice spray. The hairspray of my choice is the Tresemme. I've been using it for years. I love it. It works well for all of my hairstyles and it doesn't beat up and it doesn't flake. So I love it. So I'm just gonna give it a nice full dose of spray all over, and I like to crunch it so I can make sure the spray is actually penetrating through all the hair. So I like it to be a little plasticky. That's the whole point of this textured thing, is that it should look messy, but it should look clean enough to show the definition of each curl. So messy meaning that it's not a smooth curl, it's not a, I'm sorry, it's not a smooth head right here, but all of this curl is gonna show like, I'll show you right here, it's gonna show like texture. And it's gotta be shiny, it's gotta be really separated curls, not all together in one piece. So that's why I don't want you to run your fingers through it right now. I want you to keep it very stringy like this and a lot of spray. That's the whole point of this look, okay? So now we'll move on to the next section. Make sure you're not taking too much hair. We just wanna go 1 inch at a time. Taking the next section down from ear to ear. That's kind of how I measure it to make sure I'm even. And we're gonna wrap it up, give it a nice little twist, roll it up, and gator clip the top so it's out of her way, and then we can continue curling. So I'll show you one more time, a little bit in slow motion so you guys can get a better idea of how I'm curling again, and then we're gonna start answering questions. So again, go ahead and turn a little bit this way. Perfect. I'm going underneath, and I'm just gonna wrap it really tight. And I'm gonna go a little closer to her ear. I don't wanna go too close to her ear, so I'm gonna be very careful here. I'm gonna wrap it, wait a few seconds for it to get really hot. The cool thing about this iron is that it has a safety tip, meaning if you accidentally touch your client or touch yourself, the safety tip is cold. So a lot of the wands out there in the market are fully hot all the way around, and you can burn yourself a million times on it and burn your clients. But because this has a safety tip, it'll prevent any burns going like this or touching on accident or anything like that. You still have to be careful here, but the safety tip means a lot to me, and I wanted to make sure that my product had the safety tip for you guys too. Taking the next section, doing the same exact thing, going as close as possible, tightly winding that hair to create that awesome texture. And then letting it go and letting it bounce down. I'm going to adjust this camera if that's okay. I need it to go a little higher so that my arm isn't like blocking you guys. And is this thing able to roll down a little, like shoot down like this? Like tilt? Oh, perfect. This is on the head. That's great. Let me know if this is okay, guys. If you want us to move, we can totally move. Are we good? I like it. Yeah, that's a good one. So that way you can see what I'm doing from the top angle and really understand all the curls, okay? So while I continue the rest of the head, I'm gonna give my phone. Okay, let me get in here first. I'm gonna give my phone over to our beautiful model, and she's gonna go ahead and read some of the questions that you guys have asked so I can help you while we're just doing the same redundant style over and over. I am gonna turn you a little bit like this, okay. Anything yet?
Hmm.
And I'm just going right under, twisting it over, giving it a nice curl.
I have a question about eyebrow actually.
Okay.
If someone have a scar in the eyebrows, how do you feel it?
A scar?
Yes, a scar.
You know what? I really like a couple of different eyebrow products for this particular thing. If they have a scar in their eyebrow and it's a little bald spot, preventing hair from growing there, I usually like to use either Brow Wiz from Anastasia Beverly Hills, or I like to use the Dip Brow from Anastasia Beverly Hills with the Ingold's brush, and you could actually draw in little tiny hairs. So if you stroke it like little tiny hairs in that bald spot, it will look like it's just her own hair filling in that area, so it looks more natural. So try that and see what you think. The Brow Wiz or the Dip Brow from Anastasia Beverly Hills.
I have a question about concealer. What kind of LA Girl concealer do you use on light skin or highlighting?
Okay, so LA Girl Pro Conceal For highlight and contour, I love the LA Girl. She's asking because I always use LA Girl Pro Conceal. Now for really light Caucasian skin, they have a new color called Porcelain. It's their lightest color in their range. They just came out with it. So I would recommend Porcelain. And then other than that, there's a color called Classic Ivory, which is also pretty light. That's another good one for highlighting Caucasian skin.
Do you spray the hair before or no?
I do not spray the hair before. So a lot of people ask me this question, if I spray the hair before I curl or not. If you want to, you can spray very lightly, but I'm always worried that I'm going to damage the hair more because it's wet. If the hair is very resistant, let's say if the hair was very, very straight Asian thick hair, then you may need to spray very lightly from a distance before you curl and then spray closer after you curl. But on her, what we're doing is because she has naturally curly hair, her hair holds curl very well. So I can curl it straight and then I can just spray it right after I'm done with each section.
Someone asked, I can curl my hair without getting super frizzy after a few minutes. How can you prevent this from happening?
There's a couple different things. You have to use an iron that works for you. So tourmaline, I found, like this particular one, the tourmaline material definitely helps to smooth down the hair so that it does not get frizzy. It makes it very smooth and shiny, as you can see right now. And then the other thing is using a heat and a humidity resistant hairspray. Like Tresemme number 5 is a humidity resistant hairspray. So after a while, even if you're dancing and things like that, it does not get messy as long as you use enough.
Someone asked if we can talk a little about hair care.
Okay, so let's talk about hair care. As far as protecting sprays and things like that, I'm not a believer. I don't use it. I feel like no matter what, whether you use heat or with a spray or without a spray, it's still going to damage to an extent. You never want to use heat every single day on your hair. So I don't really use heat protecting sprays because I believe that they don't really even protect. I tried it on myself for actually a year and my hair still had split ends and it was breaking like crazy. So I just feel like it's a gimmicky thing unless I can find one that actually works. So if you guys have an idea, please comment it in that latest post so I can find out more about those heat resistant sprays if it works. But other than that, as far as actual hair care, I recommend shampooing depending on your hair color. Like I have a lot of blonde hair, so I shampoo with Laura's new hair care line, Laura CK's hair care, LCK hair care. And they have this one called the Maryland shampoo, which is a brightening shampoo. It's a purple shampoo for blonde people. And so what it does is the purple of the shampoo, it helps to brighten up any yellow brassy tones. And you can care for your blonde hair a lot better that way because it's depositing a little bit of purple tone on your hair and it brightens up your hair so it doesn't look yellow or orangey. Now, as far as like brunettes, then just use a basic shampoo. I like to use a volumizing shampoo because my hair is so thin. So I typically use a volumizing shampoo. I really like Tresemme as well. I'm not too picky about expensive hairlines because they're pretty much all the same. What you're paying for is the brand name. So you want to be very aware of the ingredients inside. Shockingly, so I had done some pH balance testing on some products. And not to say anything bad about Paul Mitchell because I love Paul Mitchell's products, but the acidity of our hair, skin, and nails is like a 3.5, 4.5, 5.5 acidity level pH balance. We're acidic. Now, when I tried a bunch of those really expensive shampoos and I tested the pH of it, it was very, very alkaline, meaning it was like a high number. It was like a 6 or a 7. It was very much off from our natural balance. And then when I tried, like, if you can believe, the VO5, the $1 shampoos from the dollar store, VO5, those actually had a great number. That passed with flying colors because it was the same acidity pH balance as our natural hair, skin, and nails. So it did not damage as much. So shockingly, that 99-cent shampoo did a much better job in that testing than even the expensive shampoos did. So I know this can be hard for you guys to test unless you buy the pH testing strips. That will be very hard. So what I say is just try products, be open-minded to the cheaper brands, and try it and see how it works on your hair. And it's nice to alternate the products that you're using. So let's say for a month you're using one product and then your hair starts to get used to it and it's not like behaving the same way anymore, then go ahead and switch to a different product for a month. So I like to alternate different things. But I have to be honest, lately I've been using, of course, the Lara C hair care for the blonde. That's my purple shampoo. But for my regular shampoo, my volumizing one that I use right before my purple one, I've been using Tresemme, and I've been using that for about 2 or 3 years now, maybe actually a little bit longer, and I've not had to alternate. Like, I alternate my conditioners once in a while, but my shampoo, I've been very happy with the Tresemme volumizing shampoo, so I highly recommend it. And then as far as like masks and stuff like that, honestly, I don't really have time for all that stuff, so I don't have a whole lot of experience with those things. But I know that a lot of my favorite brands do carry hair masks. You can find them very easily at the drugstore. If your hair is very, very damaged, what I recommend is actually going to a salon if you can. Go to a salon and just do a deep conditioning treatment there. But if it's very dry, very damaged, the VO5 hot oil treatment does work wonders. So I would give that a shot if that's your case.
I have another one. If I need to do an Updo for a bride, when should I ask her to wash her hair? What does she need to do prior to appointment? So to freeze her, to smooth her hair. I've been asked them to blow dry her hair, but 90% of them don't know how to. Any tips for girls who are struggling with blow drying hair?
You know, I love that you guys asked that because I have that same issue. I'm not really good with blow drying. I don't have the patience for it, nor do I have the time for it. I feel like blow drying is one of those steps that I don't have time to do that. I'm being hired for a hairstyle, not to blow dry wet hair. So what I tell my clients to do is to make sure that their hair is just not frizzy or curly. So let's say if my client's hair is super, super curly and frizzy, I would tell her go ahead and wash it the night before or the day before. So give it a good 24 hours before the event time for you to wash it and blow dry it. If they don't know how to blow dry it straight, then even if they just blow dry it regular, air dry it, and just brush it while they're air drying, it's not going to be as curly as before. And then that way, if it's the day of the wedding and her hair is at least not too frizzy, but at least it's not too curly, it'll save you a little bit time during the curling process like this. And of course, the wands, using a tourmaline wand or a ceramic wand, will help to infuse a lot more shine and smoothness into the hair so that you don't have to do 2 separate steps of, I have to do now 1 step of straightening the hair and then another step of curling the hair. You could do it all in 1 step just like this. Now, as far as, if the bride just really does not know how to blow dry at all, then if they have very, very curly hair, you may have to just go ahead and accommodate that extra 30 minutes in there to go ahead and straighten the roots at least before you curl the rest of the hair, just so that the roots are really smooth. But that's something you need to discuss with your bride. And if that means that the bride needs to get her hair professionally blow dried the day before the wedding or 2 days before the wedding, then let that be. This is something that you should decide on your own and with your bride if it's something that you want to offer or not. And as far as frizzy hair, if it's really that frizzy, I've told my brides, go ahead and straighten it if you want to. Straighten it the night before, sleep on it, and believe me, if you're using wands like this, it's still going to curl beautifully. So some people are like, I heard that if you straighten your hair with a straightener, it's not going to curl as easily. But the truth is, if you have a really good wand or a good curler like this, you're going to be able to curl super straight hair with no problem. I just like to save that time, and I'd rather have my brides come in with straight hair than curly hair anyway. So those are just some of my suggestions that I have. And also make sure that you're very clear with your bride during the consultation or phone call or on the contract or whatever. Make sure all your expectations are clearly listed and clearly expressed to her so that she doesn't get a surprise on the day of and be like, wait, you didn't tell me that I have to come with dry hair, or you didn't tell me that I have to come with straight hair, and then they get mad, and that's not fair. I mean, it's her wedding day. She shouldn't have to have a reason to get mad, so it's your job to be very clear with her too.
I have one question. Do you have any rules with your clients' family watching you while you're working with the bride in the bridal part? I feel like it distracts me sometimes when they get in the way.
Oh, okay. So they're asking about distractions if the family members are there. A lot of people ask me that too. To be honest, I don't mind when people are around. I love people. I love talking. I'm a very hyper person. So for me, it's just a party, right? I just have a good time with everybody. And I don't mind if people are watching me, I'm not explaining every step I'm doing, so it's not like they're stealing my ideas or anything. It's just, we have fun. But if you do easily get distracted, and you just know already that it's not going to be a very fluid appointment if there's a lot of people around, then it is also your job to tell your bride ahead of time, please make sure we're in a private room and that only you are there. But if you really want people around you, then go ahead and you could have maybe one person with you or two people with you or whatever, like your mom or your sister or something, but no bridesmaids or something like that. Just be clear with what you expect from your bride. I also let my bride know, honestly, I don't need so much space getting her ready. I just need an outlet for the hair products. The hair tools. I need a table to put my stuff on, and I need a chair for her to sit on, and that's all I need. I don't want to act like a diva. I don't have a lot of demands on my brides. It's still their day. I still remember the day I got married. I expected my vendors to be on top of their game, and, bottom line is no matter how famous you are or will become, you're still in the service business, and customer service is everything. So if that means you need to make a list of all the things you expect from your bride, all the little things that you want that day to be smooth, then what you could do is email them the list of things so that they have it in writing and they don't get confused.
Okay. It's okay to use gel eyeliner with eyelashes extensions. What's your restriction about it?
Honestly, okay, so I have eyelash extensions. I still use gel liner if I want to. The only thing I don't use is waterproof mascara. That's the one restriction that my lash specialist gave me, was you could do whatever you want. You could go swimming. You could use eye makeup remover as long as it's not oily. Just regular eye makeup remover, no oil. But the biggest restriction is no waterproof mascara, because the only thing that's going to remove it is oil, and oil is not allowed on your lashes. It'll remove the bond, the glue bond that is holding it on you. So that's my only restriction on that. I still use gel.
Is this upcoming Updo strong enough for Indian brides with a heavy veil on top?
This updo right here?
Yes.
No. So the question was, for Indian brides with a very heavy veil on top, if this is enough, if this type of updo would work. It won't if it's a heavy veil. If it's a lightweight veil, like a tulle or a very sheer fabric and not much embroidery or anything, then it will be all right. But because of a heavy veil, what it's going to do is it's going to smash the top of the head, because what we're going to do is we're going to create a poof over here, and it's going to smash right down on the poof, and then she's going to look like she has a flat head. So the point of a bridal updo for Indian weddings, with they're wearing a very, very heavy dupatta, is to have the updo right on the crown of the head, and that way there's some height that cannot be smashed. So the bun is actually right up here, and that bun has usually like a donut, some sort of stuffer right here. And that's what's going to prevent that cloth from smashing down, because the stuffer is holding the bun up.
She's having a problem curling her hair. She said, what's the best way to make her hair last more than an hour?
A wand, for sure. If you're curling with a regular curling iron, those curls do not last very long unless your hair naturally does hold curl very well. If your hair is resistant, like it sounds like your hair is really resistant if it drops in an hour, you gotta use a wand like this, do a tight curl, let it cool down. I'll demonstrate it right now for you on camera so you know exactly what I'm talking about. So, for example, you will take a piece of hair and you will curl it right from the root and wind it while you're filling the whole wand. Hold it down for a little bit longer than usual. So instead of like 5 seconds, I'd hold it down for like 10 seconds or something. And when you let it go in your hand so that you can cool down the curl and let it really form. So you're not letting the curl open up and cool down while it's open. You're locking in the curl. I'm letting it dry. I'm letting it cool down. And now I can let it go. And this curl will last through hell and back because we've locked it down. So that's how I curl every piece of hair if I know that the hair is very resistant. So if her hair was super straight naturally and very resistant, I would have to do that. I would have to cool down each curl before I let it go, and I would have to spray it a lot to prevent it from opening up later.
She wants to know how to add hair extension if her client have very thin hair from this hairstylist.
Okay, I'll let you guys know where I would add hair extensions. It's usually in the middle and on the actual bun area. I never add hair extension to the top of the hair because then you can see the clips. So I use hair extensions towards the middle part, like right in here. I'll open it up and put some clip-in hair extensions here. And then when I roll it up into the bun, I will stuff a few more extensions in there too to add over the bun as well. So those are some of the areas that you can. But I would stay away from the sides of the hair here, and I would stay away from the top because you don't want it to weigh it down or you don't want the clips to show.
She wants to know what is the size of the armor again?
This is a 3/4 of an inch size. So it's much tighter than your traditional curling ones.
What's your take on a hair tester finishing powder versus spray? Any recommendation?
What is that?
What's your
texture?
Texture. Sorry.
What's your take on hair
finishing
texture?
powder or versus spray?
Oh, I see. Okay. I'm not a very product person. Like, I'm not a product junkie. All I use is my tools and my one hairspray, and that's it. If someone's hair is very silky, and it's not bouncing up and it's very flat, then you can use a dry shampoo. Those add a lot of texture, dry shampoos. And also, Layla Milani has this thing called Big Hair Don't Care powder, and you can sprinkle a little bit of that on the root and shake it in, and it lets the hair feel more dirty, I guess, which will make it feel thicker rather than thinner. So those are the only kind of things that I would use. But again, I'm not a product junkie. I don't like to use a lot of products at all. I like to keep things simple because with the techniques that I'm using here, you should be okay.
What's affordable and long quality foundation for your clients when starting to build up your kit?
Okay, some affordable foundations when you're starting that I like. The only drugstore brand foundation that I tried and I really liked is the Revlon, I think it's a 24-hour one. There's a Revlon Color Stay foundation which lasts like 24 hours or something like that, and that one's actually pretty good. So I would give that a shot and see. And I also like L'Oreal products. L'Oreal owns Lancome, they own Giorgio Armani, and they have a great line of skincare, mascaras, face products, all that stuff. So you can't really go wrong with L'Oreal either, so I would give those a shot.
If she say she don't have a pointy nails like you, can show what can you use to
section it?
Section the part.
If you don't have pointy nails like me, if you don't have these lovely claws, then use the end of a teasing comb to create your sections and to separate the hair.
Is there an standard selection for all Updos? Also, can you show more bridals Updos?
Which question is that? Is there standard sectioning? Okay, so for most updos, it depends. Like for this particular one, I don't have major sections because it's a messy updo, and you'll see why I don't do a whole lot of sections on this. For other updos, let's say if you were to do one with a side swoopy bang, then I would section the bangs out of the way. I would section the crown out of the way, and I would work on the bottom first and then the crown, and then I would do the bangs last. But for this particular one, it being a messy one, you don't have to really care about the sectioning too much.
What's the best way to untease the hair without ripping or damaging?
To untease the hair without ripping or damaging, try to brush it out with that Layla Milani brush or something similar to that. It's a miracle brush. It's supposed to not hang on the tangles too much. It's very gentle. So whatever you can brush out that way. Do not pull hard because you don't want to rip out the hair. So be very gentle with that part. And then what you can do is go in, if there's still some tease left, go in the shower, put on a little bit of conditioner first before you shampoo it. Use conditioner and it'll slip right through it. And then you could do your regular shampoo and conditioning after. But at least starting off with the conditioner, you get a nice silky feel on your hair, and you could open up your hair with your fingertips or use a brush inside the shower after the conditioner is in, and it'll slip right through.
Someone asked, when you're doing a makeup and a bride, and they're getting their hair done at the same time, and they're always moving too much, what's your recommendation? How do you avoid that uncomfortable?
Oh, okay. So I just this last weekend, I was working with my friend Francisco in Vegas, and he was doing the hair and I was doing the makeup. So as long as you're not showing attitude and you're super, like, him and I are friends, so we work together a lot. But even the first time we worked together, we're nice to each other. There's no attitude. I'm not yelling at him saying, stop pulling the hair. I'm trying to do the eyeliner. You know, it's none of that. You just have to nicely let them know that when you're ready for the actual eyeliner portion or any portion where you really need your client to not move, you need to tell the hair person, hey, for 1 second, do you mind if I just complete the eyeliner first and then you can continue? And they have no problem just stepping back and waiting for you to continue that step. The rest of the face, it doesn't matter if they're moving a little bit or not. I'm just used to it. I'm used to working under very weird situations. So even if the client is on a freaking horse, I'll be able to do her makeup, no problem. But when it comes to, situations where someone's doing the hair and you're doing that, you just want to let them know during the very, very key portions that you just need a minute so you can finish up the eyeliner and then you can continue. Same with the mascara portion. Lips and stuff, you want to make sure your client's not talking, so you just let them know, okay, I'm going to do your lips now. If you could just close your mouth or open your mouth like this or whatever. Just be vocal, but don't be rude, and be very, very humble about it. Be very sweet about it, and no one will have any problems with you at all. But if it's really that annoying to you, you need to tell your bride or your client ahead of time that there's no way, because I'm a very precise person, I really need to have you staying still, and it's very hard for me to work when there's hairspray and stuff going around. So if you can please have your hair done before I get started on the makeup, I would be very appreciative of that. And that's it. They have to respect it.
How do you prepare her hair prior to curling? Any texturing or just let it dry naturally?
I didn't prep her hair. We even went to the gym and everything, and when did you wash it? Like day before yesterday or yesterday morning?
The day before
yesterday. Day before yesterday. So this is 2-day hair, which I love. I love it. The dirtier, the better. So it holds really well when it's not freshly clean. So as far as any hair prep, I tell my clients, please, if possible, don't wash it that day. But if you really must wash it that day, meaning if your hair is so oily that you have to wash it every day, then that's fine, as long as it's not super, super silky and you're not using too much conditioner, because that's going to make it harder for me to get a good grip on your hair if it's too silky.
Is there anything different you do in a client that have very little amount of hair besides using extensions? Do you make the curls to make the curl last all night?
There's nothing different that I do with thin hair. I still curl it the same exact way. I still spray it the same exact way. I still scrunch it when I spray it. What you could do to make it last longer, like I said, is hold the curl in your hand before you let it go so that it can lock the curl while it loses its heat in your hand. And then another thing is, as far as like thin scalp, for example, if you're doing this hairstyle and you see a lot of scalp, then what you could do is use a little bit of eyeshadow or something on the scalp areas that are showing. You could use eyeshadow and it'll look like hair. So you could use a dark brown eyeshadow or a brow powder or something like that. Even they have hairsprays that are colored that can work for that, and that should work just fine to make the hair look thicker and have a nice curl.
What's a recommendation for eyebrows color-wise with the bride have red hair, like Eve Marie?
For red hair, if they want you to match their eyebrows to the red hair, then use lip pencil. If you cannot find an eyebrow product that is that red, you could totally use a lip pencil. Just make sure your lip pencil is as water resistant as possible. I know that the Lancome Le Crayon lip pencils, those are waterproof. So I have had clients that have had bright red hair, and I've actually used not a red, but like more of a brownie red lip pencil to create their brows a little bit. Like I still use a brow pencil first, and then I'll add a little bit of that red just to tint it with a lip pencil, and it worked just fine.
Are you twisting as you curl?
I am twisting as I curl. So when I'm curling, I am not wrapping it like a ribbon like this. What I'm doing is I'm holding the hair, and I'm not letting go of the hair, and I'm twisting it as I'm wrapping so that it has more texture in the hair instead of just that typical ribbon.
A couple hours before after putting on my makeup, my nose area get very oily very oily, and foundation start fading away. Only in my nose area. Even when I apply powder, it doesn't stop from getting oily. Is there any primer or any different methods that I can use to combat the issues?
Okay, so if you are putting on foundation and you notice that your nose area keeps slipping and the foundation is just not sticking very well to the nose area, it's actually a common problem because the nose is such a slippery area. It's pretty much all bone. So the product, it's pretty hard to let it stay on with all that oil production and everything on the bone area. So what I normally do is I would add a layer after you do the foundation. I would add a layer of the Pro Longwear concealer on the nose area that tends to slip. And the Pro Longwear concealer from MAC definitely has helped me make sure that my clients' noses don't break apart throughout the day. It definitely stays. And then do the same, a lot of powder over it. Make sure you're really pounding that powder into the nose area with a small brush so that you're getting a very thick amount of powder on there, and that'll combat it even more. But try that Pro Longwear. As far as a primer, I still use, the same primers. I like the Benefit Professional Primer. I like the MAC primers. They're all pretty good. So I would say that the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer is something that you can add.
What product, if any, does your models have in her own hair? No, yeah,
Do you have anything?
No, I have nothing.
Nothing in her hair.
When you smooth the roots with the flat area, are you sorry, my Portuguese is getting
cute, I love it.
Are you gonna have a hard time teasing it when you smooth that with the flat area?
You shouldn't if you have the right tools, I would say. Like the Leila Milani teasing brush, that little teasing comb, that works very well even if the hair is very silky. But what I would say is if it's still too silky and too flat for you to tease and it's just not happening for you, what you would need to do is spray it a little bit to get it rough and then do a little teasing, and that will definitely help you. A dry shampoo would work, a texturizing spray would work, a root lifting spray would work, or just a regular hairspray is fine too.
What tips do you have for very extremely watery eyes?
Oh, when the eyes are really watering, it's very irritated. So you have to either back off, give them a few minutes to kind of absorb their tears and then continue. Because if you just keep going over those eyes, it's going to just keep getting more and more watery. It's very irritated. The eyes are trying to tell you something. It's telling you to back off. But another thing that you could do if you're running out of time and you're like, okay, I really don't have time to just let you cry for a while, you can just hold up a Q-tip and literally catch those tears as they're forming so that it doesn't ruin the rest of the makeup while you're trying to apply it.
What foundation from MAC should I put in my kit for an Indian base bride?
Okay, so an Indian bride, what kind of foundations to put in the kit?
Yes, from MAC.
From MAC. I love, so the formulas that I like are Studio Fix, Studio Sculpt, and Pro Longwear. As far as the colors for Indian skin, I love, for fair Indian skin, NC25 is popular. For medium Indian skin, I would say 40 or 35. And then for deeper, more tan Indian skin, I would say 42 or 44. Would work really well, like NCs. NWs somehow are very pink, so stay away from NWs if you're Indian. Stick with the NCs.
Do you always curl the hair in the same direction?
I have a habit of doing so, but we are going to mess it up a little bit in this tutorial. But, if you want to alternate, you absolutely can. It doesn't really matter. In this particular tutorial, it doesn't matter if it's all in the same direction or not. But let's say if you're doing like a Hollywood wave downdo, it all has to be in the same direction and the same size.
What tips do you have for a client that have very thick, super curly hair that wants to do a nice and smooth updo? I've just used the same flat iron from my kit and it worked just fine, even on African American kinky curly hair. To smooth it, it works just fine. You don't even need a Marcel iron, you don't need any of that stuff. It's just
a really good iron, you just take thinner sections so that you can make sure, so instead of taking fat sections to straighten, you take much thinner sections so that the heat actually disperses through every strand of hair very smoothly. Make sure that you're using, if the hair is very frizzy or anything like that, if you want to use a little bit of a serum, you absolutely can. That's pretty much my only, I don't really change my ways too much. I use the same techniques on pretty much everyone, and it's a very universal thing.
In your tutorial, I've been only seen you use black eyeliner. Do you ever use brown?
I very rarely use brown. My two favorites are either nude or black. So if someone doesn't like black eyeliner, I'll use nude in the waterline, and then I'll use, a little bit of brown eyeshadow along the outer edge of the eye, but I keep the inside nude. Or if they like a dark smoky eye, I'll do black on the waterline, and then I would add brown eyeshadow around it to make it look a little bit more chocolatey.
Would you be doing Updo for Indian brands too for dupatta settings?
The only problem is I am working, so a lot of you have been asking about my online certification class. The bridal updos take quite a long time, and so I will be including them in the actual bridal hair certification classes that I will be releasing later this summer, most likely. The only delay, I know you guys have been waiting so long for the certification classes. The delay is that we need to make sure that the quizzing system is perfect. So what I want to do, remember how a long time ago I said, oh no, I cannot give certificates online because it's not ethical. I can't see your work. I don't know if you're learning. So now we figured out a way that we can show you those techniques, the bridal techniques, the updo techniques, the makeup techniques, all the very, very advanced stuff. We can show you that and then quiz you at the end of each episode so that we can know that you're actually learning, and then you would earn your certificate. So that whole process is being made right now for you guys. So as soon as it's ready, I'll let all my Dress Your Face Live members know, because this is something that only Dress Your Face Live members can access. Non-members cannot access this, so this is something that's very special for you guys, and we will have it at a much more discounted rate than my regular classes. My regular classes are $1,500 per day, but I do want to make sure that those of you who, want just some basic and advanced online learning can be able to afford it. So we will make sure it's much more affordable and very easy to learn. I want to make sure that the steps are very clear for you guys. They are going to be advanced though, so those kind of styles will be in the certification courses.
So I want to ask you, when would you start your online professional course?
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what I just answered.
Also, how do you clean the little flyaways around her face?
I will show you that. Let's say if there's flyaway here, what you could do is add a little bit of hairspray and then use the wand very lightly on those areas, and it actually sticks to the hair better. So it doesn't shoot out into the empty space around. It actually smooths everything down and it sticks to the hair. As long as there's a little bit of hairspray on it and then you smooth it with a hot iron, it'll stick down, and that's the way that I get rid of flyaways.
I just started Dress Your Face Live, so I don't know if you haven't done any before, but can you do any tutorial on a big volume hair? I mean the kind of smaller definition curls similar to a natural hair.
I've done a volumized Hollywood hair, but I can definitely do a volumized natural curly hair tutorial for you guys. Absolutely. I'll work on it. I'll work on adding that to the schedule.
Does this hairstyle match with people with long faces?
For people with long faces, I do not recommend having too much height on top, because what you want to do is create more width. Remember how I was talking about, I don't know if you guys have seen any of these contour classes that I've taught, but when your face is very long, you want to create more width. So for long faces, I like it looser on the sides, or just a lot of curls on the side and down. But if the long face clients want an updo, then don't go too high here. You want to create more width rather than height.
When working with the bride, do you do the hair or the makeup first?
I do the hair first, and then I do the makeup when I'm working on a bride.
What foundation you recommend for a drugstore for oily skin and dry skin or powder? In powder.
The Revlon Color Stay 24-hour one is really good for oily skin actually because it's so long lasting. It's meant for those who just don't have a lot of luck when it comes to wearing makeup and having it last due to oil or whatever. So I would try that one, and I don't know about the powders actually. I'm sorry, I haven't tried a lot of drugstore products. Just the ones that I've tried and liked are the ones I've already said, like the Revlon, L'Oreal stuff is good. But I just have not tried any drugstore powders that I've liked. I really truly just love the MAC one.
If the hair is 1 or 2 days dirty, and the hairstyle and the hair it's nice, do you have any fresh product to make the hair smell good?
Dry shampoo does the trick usually. If you have a good dry shampoo, it has a nice fresh scent to it.
What orange concealer do you recommend to cover dark circles?
MAC has really, really good orange tones, and they have a palette, which is a Conceal and Correct palette in medium deep, and that has a great burnt coral, which is their orange color in that one, and it's really, really nice. And also LA Girl Pro Conceal just came out with the orange corrector, and that's really good too.
Also, for someone with ice peak acne scars, how do you get the face plan to prepare smooth with the makeup?
I actually did a whole class on this. I don't know if you guys are All Access members. Basically, with the All Access, it's only $20 additional per month, and only members can get on the All Access pass. So it's an All Access pass. It's $20 a month. You can cancel at any time, and it's really awesome because you'll be able to access every single class I've ever done on this thing. There's like 35, 40 classes that I've done so far, maybe more, I don't know. But they're always being uploaded and stuff in case you've missed it. So if you have an All Access Pass, you can watch that one. There was a whole episode on acne skin, on birthmark skin, all that stuff and how to cover it. Basically what I went over is the Cinema Secrets palettes, the foundation palettes. Those are very full coverage, so that works really well. And then using matte powders, such as the Studio Fix from MAC powder, and not using any shimmer, because the shimmer is going to show off those scarring and the holes and everything a lot more. So keep it matte, keep it full coverage, and you shall be in good hands.
Have you ever heard of barcode lips? The type of lip that's smooth, but they have a little bit of line breaks. How do you make those kind of lips look smooth, even with the lip color nude?
Okay, let me see. Barcode lips. I never knew that's what it's called. So you're talking about the lips that have a lot of lines in them. Mm-hmm. How do you make them look smooth? There are lip primers out there. Go to Sephora, ask the ladies or gentlemen that work there for a nice smoothing lip primer. And usually, the pore minimizers and things like that are very similar too. You can try to use that all over the lips. It'll try to fill in as many lines as it can. It's not going to be perfect, but it will help to a degree, and then you can use your products over it. But when you use your lip products, make sure you're using it very thick so it can fill in those lines as well. All right, we're going to take a quick break from the questions. I want you guys to see all this curl. We've sprayed every curl so that every curl is very, very defined. There's no frizz because we sprayed the crap out of it from the root all the way to the tip. So it's looking very noodly, very fun and bouncy and all that stuff. Now, to go from here to the updo is actually quite simple. It's just that this whole process is quite tedious because it is time consuming, but it's not hard. It's just, redundant. So go ahead and take a look at the camera, face the camera. They can see how it looks from the front. Very curly, very wild, okay? So that's how it looks right now. What I'm going to go ahead and do right now is I'm going to use a little bit of eyeshadow to fill in the baby hairs area so that it looks like the hairline is starting a little bit more down. And that's something I really wanted to talk to you guys about too, for those of you who also have little baby hairs here and you want it to just look like full hair. You can use a little bit of eyeshadow over there, and I'll show you that right now. And then we're going to start pulling it all up and doing that whole updo. So let me grab that product from my purse. And I'm going to use just I usually use a brow kit like the Anastasia Brow Pro palette, but I forgot to bring that with me today, so I'm just going to use my regular kit, which is an eyeshadow kit, the Anastasia Beverly Hills Catwalk palette, and I'm going to use black mixed with brown so that it's a softer black, and I'm going to use it all over her hairline so that we can fill it up, and then the baby hairs won't look so different anymore. It'll all look like a smooth hair. It's actually a really good tip. When all the hair is being pulled back, we all have these little baby hairs, or most of us have these baby hairs, so I do it on myself too. When I have my hair pulled back in an updo, I want to make sure my hairline looks perfect, so I'm going to fill that in. I know this is an extra step, but it does work, so I'm just going to use the same brush that it comes with, and use a little bit of the black, mix it with the brown, but more black because her hair is more black, and I'm going to start filling in the areas that have the baby hairs. So see already how it's starting to look more complete? And we're just filling in all those little baby hairs areas so that we have a more perfect hairline. Gosh, the things women have to frickin' do just to look amazing and perfect. The standard of perfect on women is not fair. The guys can look all wrinkly and horrible and they're still hot. But that's okay. We love doing this. We are glam girls, and we have fun with hair and makeup. We have more fun than guys do, so I guess I shouldn't complain. So look how awesome it already looks. And then look at the other side. Oh. So we're gonna, why don't you switch? Yeah, I'll go ahead and do this side now. So see how the hairline now, let me move this a little bit more. Is it okay on the screen? Like that? Yeah, cool. So see how over here over here I added the dark, and over here we haven't done it yet. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the other side, and I'm going to go ahead and do that too. So this is an awesome trick. No one will ever know your secret. It doesn't look fake at all. It just looks like thicker hair. That's all it looks like. So now instead of baby hairs, it just looks like regular hair. No big deal. I love this little secret. I do this all the time, literally, like all the time. I hate my hairline, so I do a lot. We're just pushing it right in. I'm mixing black and brown, but more black. And like I said, eyebrow palettes work very well for this because it's meant for hair. So I usually use that, but I left that at home. So I just wanted to show you what else you could use, which is just a regular shadow. And I'm just going to make sure it's all looking even and nice. All right, let's see how that looks on camera. All right, yeah, looking really cool. Just going to smooth that out there. Awesome. Okay, we're ready. So now that that part is done, we can start doing all this fancy stuff to her hair. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to just take this top half of her hair. I'm just sectioning it without ruining her curls. So I'm just trying to pick up the curls that are on the top half of her hair. Very carefully. So now they're all separated. We got the top half going on. I'm just going to give it a little spray to make sure it stays separated. And I'm going to give it a little twist and get it out of the way right now. And I'm going to put this in a little ponytail here. So I'm going to grab a small rubber band. And I'm also going to grab a small donut. And we're going to use this donut to create the bun shape. I love these things. You can find it at H&M. You can find it at Sally's Beauty Supply. They're pretty easy to find nowadays. So go ahead and turn this way. We're going to go ahead and get all this hair. I'm also going to spray the edges. It's going to feel weird because I'm spraying so close to her hair, but I got to do it. We're going to clean up the sides a little bit. And we will create a ponytail right at the base. This is just a regular tiny rubber band you can find at any beauty supply. Okay, so we have a little ponytail here. Now we're going to use this bun maker. Pull the ponytail through it. Okay. I found a little bobby pin in here. And now you're going to use bobby pins to secure this bun piece all the way around. So I'm using the bobby pin and I'm just going to clip it to her hair so that it doesn't move around. I'm going to do a few all the way around just to make sure it's all secured. I don't want it jumping around when she's dancing and stuff. And then make sure you get a little bit on the bottom as well. Okay, this should be all right. Now, I'm going to take this hair piece by piece and start arranging it around this bun. And I'm going to loosely pin it all in so that it can create a little bit more heavy volume on the bottom. Because what I want is so that when she takes pictures from the front to see a little bit of hair too. So I'm going to make sure there's enough on the sides and on the bottom. Then this hair is going to go over all this and cover the top half. So don't worry about covering the top half for now. We're going to focus on that bottom half. So I'm going to take these little bobby pins. I'm going to grab one piece at a time. Now I need to make sure, because look, all these curls started opening up. I need to make sure it's very crunchy. So I'm going to respray it, smooth it, so that it's a noodle again. And now I'm going to put a bobby pin in here, and I'm going to wrap it around and stick it on the other side of the bun. See that? It just wrapped around, and I left some of the curl so that it still shows the texture. Now this piece I'll tuck in later. Don't worry about that right now. So do the same thing as you're going around. We're going to grab a piece. Maybe I'll use my other clips to get this little guy out of the way. I'm going to use this piece now. Spray it like crazy so we can get that noodle quality back. Twist it if that helps, like I did right there. And go back with a bobby pin. Go like a few waves down, like right here maybe. And then we're just gonna twist it right into the bun piece. And that's what we're gonna do all the way around so we can start covering all that bun piece. Why don't I turn you? Oh, you're light, it's okay. You're a strong girl. Okay, got it, perfect. So we're gonna keep doing that all the way around, okay? I'm going to take another little piece here. I'm going to respray it. Do the little noodle. Clip it right into the bun piece. Make sure your bobby pin is actually penetrating the bun piece all the way, otherwise it's just going to pop right out. So you have to feel that it's going all the way in. And just kind of cover up whatever you're doing here. And remember, these little hangy ones, we're going to deal with this later. I don't want to deal with it right now. I'm focusing on the big picture first. Now the last piece. Give it a nice spray. Give it the twisty noodle. And go a few curls down. And wrap it around and stick it right in. And then you could spread it if you need to spread it to cover a little bit more. And spray it down so it doesn't look frizzy. It's got to look as clean as possible. Granted, yes, this is a messy updo, but you don't want it to look so messy that you didn't mean it to look that messy. You want it to be a clean mess. So now that those are done, now I can focus on these little stragglies. If I want to get rid of them, I could just stick a little pin in them and shove it right in, be done. Or you could leave some of them loose. If you want a very loose romantic look, leave it loose. So now that this bottom half is done, now all we need to do is bring this top half over and cover it up. So what I'm going to do now is bring all this over, and I'm going to start bringing all this hair back with my fingers. So the hair isn't super curly on the top, but I do see the texture. So I'm starting to rake it like leaves. I'm raking it back. And then what we'll do is we'll twist the base, stick it right in here, and then all this hair will then be pinned and covering all of the rest of the mesh. So this is how the hair is going to end up looking, like an amazing bun back here and a lot of curl up here. Now, if your model wants some height, if your bride wants some height up here, what I do in this case is I will take some pieces. I don't want to break them apart completely, so I'll take a few pieces at a time. And I'll just tease a little bit, just on the base. You don't want to tease too much because you don't want it to look all messy all of a sudden. So you're going to tease and spray. Take another little section here. We're going to tease right at the root, just enough to stand up a little bit, and spray. And tease. And spray. So now we have a little bit of some lift over here if they want that height. Now, if the model's face is very long or the bride's face is very long, then you don't have to do so much height there. But what I like to do is add that height and then spray the crap out of it. You don't want it to move around too much, but you still want it to look quite loose. So what I'm doing right now is I'm starting to spray her hair in place. So I'll have her turn here, and I'm going to rake it back and spray it in place so that the hair can start forming where I want it to form. So I'm just moving this hair back a little bit, like that. So now it has this lovely form where it's a little bit high here, it's a little bit flatter here, and I can work the curls how I want it to work. So if there's anything looking a little funky, like this little baby right here was looking a little funky, so I'm just going to put it back in place and make sure everything's looking very nice and smooth and it has a good form to it. Also remember that the front obviously matters, so for a second I'm just going to look at her front and make sure it all looks nice. I'm going to spray it in the front, make sure everything's looking not lopsided or anything. And now that that's done, go ahead and face the camera for a second so I can see how the front looks. So that's how it looks in the front. You have a lot of this messiness up here, and we're going to smooth that all out. Now before we pin it, we have to remember that, hello, we have a headpiece that we need to use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start forming where is the headpiece going to go, and I'm going to make sure that the back clips really well. So because half of the hair is up and half of the hair is down, is the perfect time for me to go ahead and start clipping that into place. So what I'll do is I'll put this piece up again. I'm going to twist it a little bit and get it out of the way for a second. And then I will bring this forward. And I will go ahead and attach it to the back. So I'm going to have you turn again so you can see the back, and I'm going to go ahead and bobby pin it down so that it doesn't move around. So I will put one bobby pin in through here, and I may put another bobby pin through that first bobby pin just so that it doesn't move around. So I'll do that so that that's pretty secure, and then I'll do the same on the other side. And remember, that whole part is going to be covered, so it doesn't have to be like super perfect in the back. It just needs to be on her. So I'll put this other bobby pin through it, and one last one to hold the bobby pin in place. So now go ahead and face forward. We're gonna just fix any lopsidedness. Wow, that's beautiful. That's super stunning. Okay. Now that that's on, I need to just add one or two more bobby pins. I'm just really anal about this stuff. I don't want anything slipping. I don't want anything crazy going on. Okay. Does that feel okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right, now we're ready to get all this hair back. Thank you. We're gonna grab all this hair and we're gonna just twist it right at the base here. If we want to hide some of this, then we can absolutely use some of this hair right here to hide some of that, so that the headpiece only shows in the front. You could bring some of this hair down too. It's totally up to you how you want to do it. But if we did that, let's go ahead and hide a little bit. We take some hair and we pin it down. And we do the same on the other side too. Actually, I can even pin more right down here. Okay, so that kind of hit a little bit of there. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side, the same exact thing. So taking some hair and pinning it down just to cover up that little piece. Same exact thing as the other side. And now I'm ready to do the whole like twist and pull method. So I'm pulling all of this back and I'm going to give it a little bit of a twist over here. Maybe we can face a little bit this way. Yep. Perfect. We have all this hair to work with. So I'm going to give it a little twist and I'm going to pin it right in place, right in here. And I'm going to make sure that this top is looking nice and textured. I don't want it to look super messy. So if there's any curls that are just too loose and too messy, you want to pull it out, respray it, and do the noodle so that you can make sure it looks nice and clean again. And then once it's all ready for the pinning, which it is now, we're wrapping it. We're going to take a pin and we're just going to pin right into the top of that bun. We're going to do several pins so that this top does not fly all over the place. So I'm going to do several pins all the way across just to make sure this doesn't move. I need it to feel very secure for her. I want her to know that she can dance the night away and not have to worry about her hair getting loose and crazy looking. So now that all of that is secured, I can now spread this hair over and start kind of scheming out where I'm going to place this hair to cover the rest of the bun. So I smoothed all that out. We're going to give it a nice spray now that we know the hair disbursement. And there's two ways to do this. Either you take all the hair, wrap it underneath this bun, and call it a day, which I've done it a million times and it works great. Or if you want it to really look curly and messy, you could do the whole pinning thing where you take a piece and you grab a bobby pin and you just wrap it in and tuck it into the whole hairdo. So that's another option that you could do just so that it doesn't look all like it's together. You can definitely do the wrapping and pinning technique, which I'm going to go ahead and do that technique because I want to show you the harder way. And if you want to do the easy way, no big deal. You can totally do the easy way. So I'm just taking piece by piece and pinning it in. A piece right here, pinning it in, and then the final piece is there. I'm going to turn a little bit this way. And we're going to pin it in here. And now we have all this extra hair to work with to hide the rest of the mesh. So first I'm just going to move this to the right spots here. And I'm going to use this hair to cover up some of the exposed mesh from that fake bun that we put in. So we're going to take this, for example, and throw it over here to cover up a little bit, grab a little bit more volume on that side. I'm going to take some hair here and bring it up just to add more volume. I'm going to take these little straggly pieces, bring it all together, and clip it right underneath for that little bit. And now I'm just kind of nitpicking and seeing if there's any areas that have holes that I want to cover up. It's all looking very elegant and regal, and it doesn't require a whole lot of thinking and a whole lot of planning. It's just messy curls that you're just pinning in and finding a home for. So now that everything is pinned in, we're going to give it a nice spray. Looking very, very nice and big. And now go ahead and face the camera. We're going to do the front now. Okay, so now we're going to fix up the front. We're going to make sure everything is in its right place. So since this is a little bit low now that I'm seeing that I've done the hair and it's looking a little low, I'm going to go ahead and pin that a little higher. Okay, and I'm going to make sure that this all looks even. So I'll stand right here. Looks really nice. I'm going to protect this jewelry. Never spray over jewelry, guys. It's going to tarnish. So you want to always protect the jewelry when you're spraying around it. Smooth all the little flyaways down just with a little extra hairspray. Oh, I just sprayed this chair. Okay, and now we can kind of see from the front if we want to add a little bit more volume on the side. We can actually move some of this hair, fluff it on this side. If we want to really show a lot of volume on the side, and you could literally, because it's messy do, it doesn't matter if you adjust it. If you want to bring more hair over, then just bring more hair over. And you can show a little bit more volume from your side pictures. If you want to adjust anything, it can be adjusted. It's very easy to adjust a messy hairdo because it's not going to make it look bad. It's already looking messy, so you can't really tell where those curls are coming from anyway. And turn the other way. I like that side already. We don't really even have to do anything there. Okay, cool. And that's it, guys. It's just a matter of placement. It's a matter of how she wants it. If the headband is too low, you could always maybe go a little higher, no big deal. But it's an amazing way to dress up an updo, is to use a jewel piece and really make it look more regal. But at this point, I'm going to have you do like a side-to-side little posing action so everyone can see and take screenshots and pictures and post all about this class. So as you can see, we did a very messy updo. The whole top has a lot of texture. The bun is very extravagant and big because of that big bun piece that we used, the donut thing. You can see some of the texture from frontal views. You can see it from the side views. Everything is very grand and very beautiful, but also very romantic because it's not like a helmet head. It's very texturized and very, very soft. So you have, I love this look actually. It's one of my favorites. I've done it on myself. So if you want to do it on yourself, do the exact same thing. You don't have to be as careful with all the curls and the pinning. You just throw it all up. Make sure you have your little ponytail and start clipping in all those pieces. But it doesn't have to be piece by piece. In your case, if you're doing it on yourself, you can take all this hair that was up here, roll it right over, and pin just the bottom, and you'll be fine. I love this. Thank you so much for modeling for us. It's so pretty.
I'm ready to get married.
Yeah. Where's the groom?
I know.
Let's take applications. I love it. It's so gorgeous. So guys, what did you think? I want you to comment your opinion on this class on my latest post. And if you have more questions, go ahead and ask those questions on that latest post. And during the next class, I can go back and answer some of those as well. As if you guys just joined us, we had the Q&A actually during the whole time that I was curling her hair. So the Q&A is now over. But I wanted to take this time to thank all of you guys for watching. I had a blast teaching you guys. I love teaching, whether it's makeup or hair. I'm so passionate about both. And I love that you guys are also passionate. And even I've heard it from a lot of my students too, the ones that do makeup and don't do hair. A lot of you guys have said that you've learned a lot when it comes to curling your own hair and doing your hair, and maybe even offering some hair styles to some of your prom girls and your Sweet 16 girls, practicing on them so that you can actually offer both of that, both of your sets of skills to your clients is very important. A lot of clients look for those who can actually do both hair and makeup. So it's a very beneficial thing, even if you're not a hairstylist. It is a beneficial thing to at least have a few, a few skills under your belt. So I'm glad that I have a hairstyling set that will make it easier for you. I'm glad that you're here watching these classes so that you guys can learn on yourself and on your friends. And it's a very easy style. It took some time because I was explaining every step, but when I'm doing it in a real life situation, it won't take too long. It just depends on how much hair that they naturally have, and if you're using extensions, you could always throw them in right under the big bump part and then add those curls right over the bun, and that's how it's done. All right, we're gonna say goodnight now, but thank you so much again for watching. We had a blast. If you want to follow my beautiful model, I have tagged her in her lovely poster post. She has the video of our teaser up on her page as well, so you guys can comment and let us know what you think. Thanks again. I'll see you soon for, oh my God, the next class. I'm so excited. One of my students is flying in and is going to be my model. She's from Texas. We're flying her out, and it's African American contour class. So you guys get to learn how to work on deeper skin tones, how to contour deeper skin tones, and what kind of colors to use, what products to use, all that stuff. We're going to go over all of that next time. So I'll see you soon for that class. Do not miss it. Okay? Bye. I'll talk to you soon.